Hello, everybody! Merry Christmas! Everybody!
Merry Christmas, Santa! Our next stop on our gourmet journey is Chef Warren Lobo, chef extraordinaire, whose themed presentation today is a Christmas centerpiece.
Great. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, great, Joan. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. This is great to see all of you here. Well, most of you anyway that I can see. If you have unblocked yourself and I can see you. Really missed being with you again this year. Really enjoyed our meeting in 2019. And sadly, because of COVID, we couldn't do another session. But maybe next year. We'll look forward to it. So today I'm here to show you how to do a couple of festive things. I have 15 minutes, but I'm going to try to squeeze everything in 12. And I'm going to show you 3 different things that you can do to help make your season more festive today. All right, so let's get to it right away. I hope you can all see me. I've tried to adjust the lighting so that you can actually see what I'm doing as well as possible. I'm actually working out of my office today here at home because my kitchen is packed with things getting ready for the season. But anyway, the first thing that I'm going to be showing you today is how to make something that's very seasonal, something that's delicious, and that's great to make, whether as an appetizer or a first course, or as an hors d'oeuvre. So today we're going to do the hors d'oeuvre version, which you can serve around with drinks. Sadly, we won't be doing too much entertaining this year, but if you can't share with other people, treat yourself and make yourself a really nice cocktail and perhaps these wonderful little latkes that I'm going to be showing you how to make. All right. So the first thing that we need to start off with to make our latkes are potatoes. And for today's recipe, you need 1 potato, just like this. This is a baking potato, but you can use baking potato or Yukon Gold. And the reason you want that is because of the high starch content. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the potato and then you're going to peel it so it looks like this. And then you're going to use a box grater just like this. And you're going to grate the potato. All right. So once you've done that, the next ingredient that you're going to be adding into the potato is an onion. just like this. So for the size of potato that I used, which is this, you'll need half an onion, all right? So you take half an onion, peel it, and that's what it looks like. You're going to grate this as well with the potato using a box grater. And what will happen is you'll end up with a mixture that will be full of liquid. Now that liquid is a good thing, but what we don't want is too much of it, because we can never have too much of a good thing, right? So what you want to do is squeeze out as much water as you can from the onion and potato mixture. Some people actually save this water and they let it settle for a while, because you want to use the starch that remains at the bottom of the pan after it's had some time to settle. So if you're going to do that, pour out the water and throw the starch back in with the potato. Next, you need 2 more ingredients that go in with it. One of them is what's popularly known as Matzo Meal. So what's matzo? Matzo is a flat Jewish bread, and indeed, latkes are Jewish, and they're celebrated and they're eaten at the time of Hanukkah, which we've just passed last week. They are great to eat any time of the year, but particularly so during Christmas and during Hanukkah. So if you can find matzo meal, which is the broken crumbs of the bread, add half a cup of that to your mixture. If not, just use breadcrumbs, such as these. And to that, you're going to be adding an egg. All right, 1 egg. Put that in there with it. And mix the whole thing up together. Now, we need to season this with salt and pepper, but you don't want to do it until you're ready to cook them. The reason being is that when you add the salt to the potato, it's going to release more water. And we don't want this to be a soggy mess. Okay? One thing that you can do if you find that you have too much water is to add a tablespoon of flour. Okay? So add the flour in and mix it up. And once you've done that, this is what it will look like. All right, I hope you can all see this. The potatoes are really nice and shredded, as are the onions. And you can also add a green onion if you want, as I did, because I just really like the taste of spring onions. And you can even see the spring onions in here. There's a little bit there, but they add a lot of flavor. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making little patties of this, and we're going to be frying them. So just before you're ready to make the patties, add some salt and pepper, stir it around, and then get a frying pan really hot. And we're going to be frying these, but not deep frying, but shallow frying. The important thing is that these are not swimming in oil and that they get really nice and crisp. So once you do that and you put them onto the frying pan, this is what they end up looking like. And these are absolutely delicious. I've got mine to be really crisp. And remember, we're going to be serving these as an appetizer, as an hors d'oeuvre. So they should be small enough for your guests or you to pick up like this and eat. But we don't want to serve them just the way they are, right? We've got to add a bit more flavor to these because they really taste really good. So I'm going to show you 3 ways of actually topping these. So here's 3 of them. And 2 of them use some sour cream. That's a sour cream right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a dollop of sour cream, put a little bit on the top, 2 of them. Okay. And then we're going to add something to the sour cream on both of those. The first one, we're going to take some smoked salmon. And I've got a little piece of smoked salmon here that I've actually formed into a little rose, a smoked salmon rose. And I'm going to put the smoked salmon rose right on top of the sour cream, just like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of green onion, just to remind us that there was green onion in the latke as well. And there you've got that already. For the second one, we're going to be a little decadent. And for that, I'm going to be using a little bit of lumpfish caviar or any kind of caviar that you have. So I'm going to put a little dollop of that on top. Okay. And of course, food must always look as good as it tastes. And sometimes it even tastes better than it even looks better than it actually tastes. So We're just going to garnish it with a little piece of green onion, and that's 2 of them right there. And then we're going to do a sweet one. Now, this is not a dessert by any means. You eat this just as a savory, because the potato is still savory, but we're going to be using something that's very traditional to eat these with at Hanukkah, and that is applesauce. So I've got some applesauce here. I'm going to put a little bit of that on it. I'll move it in a moment because I think the light's too bright. And I'm going to add some pomegranate seeds on the top of that. All right. Can you see that? There are 3 delicious hors d'oeuvres that you can serve, and they really taste really good, and they're so simple and easy to make. So that's the first thing out of the way and done. And I do hope that you will make them because they're amazing and they taste really good. So I'm just going to move this off to the side for a minute, and I'm going to talk to you about our next thing that we're going to be making. So one of the things that I thought that we would make today is a centerpiece for your table, because we all like to do something fun, and we always like to make our homes look festive. So we're going to be making a centerpiece, but it's partly edible. At this time of the year, we're all making cookies, right? And one of the most common and most delicious and also easy cookies to make is shortbread. So I thought, well, why don't we make a centerpiece? And I've done this many times, especially in the classes that I teach. It's always a big hit with kids and with their parents. Why don't we make a centerpiece using shortbread cookies? So here's the recipe for shortbread. Couldn't get any easier. Just remember 2, 1, and 3/4. The 2 is for 2 cups of flour. The 1 is for 1 cup of butter. And the 3/4 is the 3/4 cups of sugar. That's it. Throw them all together and mix them up. Sometimes you can be technical, of course, and you can mix the butter and the sugar first and then add the flour in later. But if you want a quick and easy way to do it, just mix all 3 together and mix them away. Then you want to add 2 more things. The first thing is half a teaspoon of salt. Now, I'm one of those non-traditionalists because normally bakers use unsalted butter, but I like to use salted butter in my cooking, as you will remember when I talked to you the last time and when we all met. So because of that, I'm only adding half a teaspoon of salt. Otherwise, if you use saltless butter, then put in 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And the next thing is half a teaspoon of baking powder. The baking powder is not absolutely necessary, but sometimes it makes your shortbread rise a little bit and makes it a little bit more crunchier. Then what you want to do is you want to cut out your cookies, roll out the dough, cut out the cookies. Oh, one more really important thing. You must let the dough rest before you roll it out. It's a really important thing in baking. But having done all of that, roll out your cookie dough. I like to do mine quite thin, but you can do them thicker if you like. And then cut them out into some seasonal shapes. So for today's demonstration, I've actually done 3 shapes. I did a snowflake, I did a little round circle, and I did a star. I'm going to show you how to decorate one of them because I've also decorated the other 2. So here is my snowflake cookie, right, that you can see. I'll hold it up here. And you can see that I've actually cut out a little hole in there. All right. And the reason for the hole is because we're going to hang this onto something to make a really nice centerpiece. But before we do that, we also want to decorate it. So to decorate the cookie, I've got some icing. You can make your own, and I usually do make my own, but because of the demonstration today, I actually bought a packet, and this is the packet here that you've probably seen in stores all over the place. I just had it in warm water to keep it soft. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pipe very quickly in front of you, and you can just see how we do this. I'm going to pipe from one point across to the other. So I'm just going to have 3 lines since there's 6 points on a snowflake. Okay, just bear with me a second while I just push the icing out, twist it. I'll do this here. It's easier with 2 hands. Sorry, I'll show it to you in a minute. There we go. All right. Okay. So when we've piped it out roughly, this is what it looks like. All right. And then I've got some blue sugar here because I think it looks really nice to have a cookie with blue sugar on it, and especially if it's a snowflake. So all I'm going to do is take the cookie, tip it over, and press it into the sugar. All right, do it a couple of times. And we end up with a cookie that looks really quite beautiful. And because of the lighting here, you can probably see that it actually glistens quite a bit. And that looks really, really nice. All right. So that's one that I've made. Another one that I did earlier on today was I made these little wreaths. So it's just from a circle. And I glazed it with lemon icing. Right? Can you see that? And then I put some holly and some berries on it. Just what that looks like. And then I did some stars. And here's one of the stars. The stars are plain white with little silver balls on them. And they look very pretty too. All right, and they're all made of shortbread. So if you have kids or grandkids, this is something that you can do with them and also help them to put them together. So once we've done that, let your cookies dry for a little bit. And then I actually made a little arrangement out of branches. And I'm just going to move it into view so you can see it. All right, so you can probably see that. And we've got all our cookies hanging from the branches. The branches are white and silver, which is what blends in with the cookies too, and just gives it a very nice wintry feel. All right, so I'm just going to place that over here so that you can see a little bit of them, and that's good. And I'm now going to move on to the very last. Let's just get a good angle here. I'll move that back again in a minute. Move on to the very last thing that I'm going to show you how to make. Because of course, if we've got all this lovely food to eat, we've got to have something to drink. So I thought, why don't I show you how to make a very quick Christmassy cocktail that's delicious to eat, to drink, and to sip along over the season. This cocktail is a special one because I am dedicating it to a very dear friend who traditionally always makes me a special cocktail every year for the past 37 years. Actually 36 years. Of the 38 years that we've been in Canada, I've been in Canada, I've only missed New Year with him and his family and his wife twice. And this year will probably be the third time. So this cocktail is for Dennis Pereira because Dennis always makes me a fabulous cocktail every New Year. So this year I'm making him one. So what we need for this cocktail is a shaker with some ice in it. And the principal alcohol that we're going to be putting in it is vodka. But I also like gin. So instead of vodka, I'm substituting gin. And we want to put in 1 measure. I'm just going to show you the measures as I do it. And then we're going to give it a good shake. And then I'll show you what we're going to be doing. So 1 measure of gin right here that goes in. The next thing that you want to add is a measure of something sweet. And the sweet this time is going to be orange because orange is very Christmassy. You can either use triple sec as I'm using here, or you can use Cointreau, which is also an orange-based liqueur. And you want 1 measure of that as well. So that goes in here. All right. And then we want to add 1 cup of cranberry juice. Now today I'm using a mixture of cranberry and raspberry because I absolutely love raspberry. And how much you want? About a cup of the juice. This is more than a cup, so I'm only going to be adding a bit of it. That should be enough, about half of what I have in there. And that's honestly it. The next thing we're going to do is put on the lid. Give it a good shake. Because of space, I can't shake it too much. Get yourself a lovely glass, such as this one here. All right, and pour it out. And then we're going to garnish it with a couple of raspberries. All right, and that's your drink. So this is a special Christmas cocktail. I haven't given it a name, but I'm going to ask you to name it for me. And perhaps later on in the comments, you can think of a name for this. It's delicious. And it's one of my favorite drinks that I actually mixed up myself and decided to make. And this, once again, is in honor of Dennis. So Dennis, here's cheers to you. And indeed to all of you, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year. And I hope that you will actually make our hors d'oeuvres, as well as, let me see, move it back a bit so you can see it. Make our hors d'oeuvres, sip them together with our cocktail, and then have something sweet to eat together with your family and your kids and your grandkids. All right? Merry Christmas, everyone, and a very Happy New Year. And here's hoping to see you next year. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, Warren. Merry Christmas. And thank you
Joan.
so much.
And to you too.
You made that look so easy and so delicious. I'm sure we're all going to try it at Christmas, seeing as we're all alone and we need some really good victuals.
Great. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.